Dr. Blumears from Realize Africa, introducing our mentorship sessions to you. We realize that building connections matter. It can lead to new business ideas and business partners and business investments. But best of all, it can lead to access to best practice advice. We realize that self-awareness matters. With self-awareness, you can appreciate your strengths, but you can also recognize your vulnerabilities and empower yourself accordingly. We realize that mindset matters. Your belief system plays a significant role in determining success and achievement. And guess what? You either have a fixed mindset or you have a growth mindset. If you have a growth mindset, then our mentorship sessions are created for you. We saw a gap and we wanted to make Africa better, and this is one of the ways that we're doing it. And within our mentorship sessions, what we're doing is connecting the young people to leaders in their fields, to African entrepreneurs and African innovators, so that as you realize your dreams and as they realize their dreams, there's relatable role models. Another way that we're actually doing this is through our skills apprenticeship program. And really just so that we can professionalize our young people in a space where we know we're moving towards a digital age and we want success in that space. We are here to create African-centered education. We're here to create African-centered conversations. And so we hope that you join us. We hope that you will take advantage of the Zoom conversations that we'll have, and whether it's a one-to-one or a one-to-many, these are spaces that you can grow. These are spaces that you can learn. We at Realize Africa firmly believe that if you are not growing, you're dying. And so we're very excited to give you an opportunity for you to grow. Welcome to our mentorship sessions. Welcome to Realize Africa's very first mentorship session. We are so honored to have with us Dr. Oyetunde Alagbe. He is the medical director at Neuromed Medical Institute in America. He is a graduate of medicine and surgery from the College of Medicine in Lagos. But he's actively involved in the American Psychiatric Association, American Medical Association, and has just very vast knowledge around the assessment and management of psychological and psychiatric illnesses. And so before we even get to the illness part, just being from a healthy perspective, we're here to talk about having a winning mindset, and who better to do it than to have the doctor here with us today. Dr. Alagbe, we'd like you to join us. We're ready to learn from you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm excited. This is a move in a positive direction, given the fact that we just came out of a beautiful protest from the youth in Nigeria. I'm beginning to see really the youth of Africa is we're actually getting up and questioning the system. Is a move in a positive direction? That tells me one thing. There are some of our youth whose mindsets are intact. However, the reason why we're having this conversation is simply because a large percentage of our youth still have their mindset somewhat skewed and needs to be changed. Now, before I go on, let me first define what when you say a mindset, what are you talking about? You're talking about two components of somebody's mind. You're talking about intellectual components. That means what the mind contains, what knowledge base is in the mind, the content of the mind. And then we're talking about the emotions that accompanies it. So we're talking about intellectual mindset and the emotion that accompanies it, which actually determines the perspective that youth is going to have to the outside world. It also determines that youth's behavior and the action towards his environment. Let me give you an instance. Well, at this age, maybe I want to call myself a youth, but I've passed that age. I remember growing up and seeing our university system at epic in terms of what it produces. So what is my mindset about a university? A citadel of knowledge, a citadel of learning, a place where somebody goes and expands his mind, and consequently, he comes out to shape the world around him in a positive way. That is my mindset, because things were okay then. So call an average youth now. What is your mindset about a university? He will tell you, she will tell you, it's a place where I just have to go and complete a curriculum to get a degree, a paper certificate. So as to show the world, I went to college. It's a place to complete a requirement, and then I can do whatever I want after. Oh, that explains why you see a graduate of computer engineering actually selling cookies on the side of the road. No relevance of the educational system to the societal need. The mindset is different from our own mindset. Hence the need to actually change this and the importance of this program you are having. So you're going to ask me, what is the origin of our mindset? How is it that mine is a little bit different from somebody younger than mine? It's about what we call life experience. Your life experience determines your mindset. Your life experience comes with its own emotional packages, and that determines how you react to your environment. So you can see, in our world, the mindset of our youth is kind of skewed. Why? Because of the experience they had to go through. Going to school during my time, we didn't know much about school shut down or anything. But now, an average graduate spends half of the time at home because of multiple schools shut down. During my time, you're assured that when you finish university, you get a job. It was sometimes before. Now you're not assured. The experience shaped mine positively, but that of the youth is shaped negatively. And the emotions attached to it. It explains everything we are seeing. It explains everything that is yet to come, unless, of course, something is done to change this skewed mindset. So ask me, what is the mindset of an African child who had to spend most of his night going to bed on an empty stomach, or who had to struggle to get the crumbles of bread from the rich and mighty of the society? Tell me what the mindset of that child, what will it be like? Tell me what is the mindset of a young African male who is not sure of his survival till tomorrow because of the violence on the street or because of a police brutality? Tell me, what would be the mindset of a female in our society who has been, stereotyped as being inferior to the male, whose life expectation is bound to what people say? Oh, most of the time restricted to the home to have babies and so on and so forth. Tell me, how do you view that kind of a mindset? Tell me, what's the mindset of an average African youth who spends most of the days of his life in a hospital, ill-equipped hospital, because of infection resulting from unsanitary, unclean environment? Tell me, my dear, what is the mindset of a graduate who wants to go to university to be an engineer? Do you think he's going to put his mind to it when he knows at the end of the day he's not going to get a job? These are the things we're talking about. The average mindset of an African is somewhat skewed, but for a few of us, for a few privileged that got it right. So you're going to ask me, what are the consequences of this? We can go through a laundry list of the consequences of this skewed, altered mindset, and we're going to be here the rest of the day. However, I will mention three important ones. Resultantly, an average African child lives a defeatist lifestyle because his mindset is a defeatist one. He is already defeated in his mind. All those things that happen to him during the life experiences actually has a way of actually seeping into his subconscious mind. He looks good, he dresses well, he sounds nice, but deep within his subconscious, he is so defeated. He's so defeated, and that's what you see in what he does. During this NSAS protest in Nigeria, you saw some youth doing something productive, engaging the powers that be with a view of altering the social ills. In the same vein, were some who set out to loot, who set out to steal and destroy, all based on the life experiences that brought them to this level, and this thing shapes their lives. It does shape the behavior. The mindset, the defeated attitude, I'm going to take it a step further, often lead to something called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. Now, that is either a psychiatric or a psychological term that is the substrate or the subsole for people who develop depression. The mind has learned to be helpless and hopeless and sad. They feel within their mind they are of no use to the society or the world around them. And this leads ultimately to depression. So it's not surprising the high, the prevalence of depression in Africa. It's all over the world, but again, there is a sudden rise. Sadly so, is that of suicide. I spent over 2 decades of my life at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. Coming back home, I had a delusion. Look, this problem is not African problems and American problem. I was shocked. I was shocked at what I encountered, even in my local community here, how many youths are burdened with mental illnesses such as depression. How many youths actually, came up with forced breakdown, psychotic breakdown during this what do you call it, this lockdown. Surprisingly, in my local community, I encountered 5, and that's a lot. That is quite a lot for one psychiatrist. Within a space of 8 months, 5, and they're all youths. No, with the exception of one. Is a reflection of the mindset, a defeated mindset of our youth. Another thing, the second thing that the exposure to this kind of chaotic lifestyle upbringing does to our youth is this, sense of, how do I call it? Entitlement and a feeling, it's kind of a mindset that makes them impatient. They want to do it now and get it now. An average African mind doesn't believe in process. It's a waste of time. For God's sake, I've spent all my life suffering. I want to make it now. Oh, there's a phrase I learned and I joke with my wife about it. I want to blow. And then you blow and then you bust because you need to go through the process that matures you. Some say the end that justifies the means. Not always. You need the process to mature you so that when you get there, you know how to manage yourself, manage what you've acquired. Otherwise, you blow and you burst. That is the typical story of an African man or an African woman looking for the end product, not wanting to put anything to it. The third thing is the kind of a general state of lethargy amongst our youth. Lethargy this time is different from that learned helplessness. Learned helplessness leads to an illness, depression, and so on and so forth. A state of general lethargy leads to an attitude of, as it was in the beginning, so is now and never shall be, world without end. It is not my responsibility, it's their responsibility. All I need to do is just to go with the flow. Can you imagine a young man, a young woman living such a life? It is what actually, explains what we see in our youth actually embracing all the social vices, stealing, looting, raping, prostitution, and so on and so forth. There is no drive to actually be independent and do something productive for themselves. I can go on and on and on, but think of these three things I've said. The learned helplessness, the defeatist attitude, the culture of impatience, and this lethargy. It actually summarizes what our youths are going through. Now, because of time, you're going to tell me, and you know what? Again, is a view. They started badly, bad experiences, brings chaos into their lives, worsening the life of an average youth, and then again, the circle goes on until death takes them away from this planet. And then what happens to our continent? In the state of despair, in a state of an uncivilized world. So this is the time we have this conversation. You have to have this conversation. I'm so happy to see what the Nigerian youth during this NSAS protest. It gave a bit of hope that, look, at least there are some who are bold enough to say, look, we got to stop this. I'm glad that there are some who say, look, no matter what it takes, at least let's start something. I am so glad I was so glad when I'm still glad anyway, when I saw the story being aired on CNN, picturing Nigerian youth saying no to power. It tells me there's hope for tomorrow, right? Right? So on this platform, let's talk about it. How do we change the mindset of an African youth? Okay, I am not going to list things to do. Do this, do this, do this one. You said change mindset. So let's go back to the mindset and change it. Because inside that mind is the tool, the power to change itself. The human mind subserves three functions. That is the place where human thoughts are generated. That is the place where we feel emotions, emotional feelings. And the third thing, component of the function of the mind, is desire. Thoughts, feelings, and desire. Our thoughts is the driver of our mind. Our ability to think and change our thought is the answer to this problem. That sounds simple, right? They might as well end the conversation, but it is not that easy. How do you change the thinking pattern of an average African youth. How do we use that key of the thinking process to change the way he sees the world around him? How do you tweak the key to actually energize him to do something for himself and the world around him? That is what I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes. Changing your thought process. Changing your thought process. How do you change your thought process? For you to change your thought process, you have to learn what does your thinking box, what does it do? My dear, anytime you're thinking, have you ever imagined what really were you doing? I will tell you what you were doing. You were doing 6 things in your mind. Every time you say you're thinking of something, you were doing 6 things in your mind. Number 1, you are clarifying an information or a situation. Number 2, you are comparing a situation, 2 situations. Number 3, you are judging a situation. Number 4, you are synthesizing, creating something. Number 5, you are making a determination. And number 6, you are changing your perspective. Those 6 things are the things that your thinking box does. And we call those 6 things your thinking tools. Your thinking tools. So what is my advice today, ma'am? My advice is to African youth is this. It is time for them to change their mindset by challenging all negative thoughts, all negative attitude, all negative behavior with the use of their thinking tools. Those 5 things. Don't just be lethargic. Don't just go with the flow. Challenge your mind with your thoughts. And how do you do it? Why do you have to do it? Let me give an analogy. I have a car and I have a flat tire, and I have a box that contains tools. Just like I'm talking about thinking tools. You have tools in there. If I don't know how to use those tools, I will not be able to change my tire. So how do we use the thinking tools? Let me give an instance. There's a general mindset of an African that, look, unless I go to America, I will not make it. False. And we can go on and talk about it until the kingdom comes, but I'm not going to go there. False. That's the mindset. It's better in America than in Africa. That's not true. How do I change that mindset? I'm going to use each of the thinking tools. The first one is clarify. So clarify that information. Is it true? Is it true that once you get to America, everything's going to be okay? No, I can tell you, no, it's not so. And I can tell you there are a lot of Africans, thousands of them in jails, in the Cap County jails, just because they thought things were going to be good, but when they got there, it's not as easy. So clarify those information and make you think that your neighbor's farm is bigger than your father's. Clarify, the false thinking tool. Decide, go to some other countries and some other continents. You'll be glad to be an African. I am proud to be an African. Somebody said, do you want to go back to America? I said, no, this is my home. God knows why he placed me here. We can go through. When I was coming back from US, my boss said, Tunde, you're going back to the jungle. I said, yes, that is where I belong because I'm a lion. What am I doing in America? So really, changing the mindset. As bad as our continent, there are worse continents on earth that I don't want to be. I don't want to mention. I don't want to ridicule anybody. There's somebody, George, what resulted in the state we are in? Oftentimes, it's us. It's us, it's us. It's not really the system. It's not really the government, to be honest with you. I don't have time to talk about that. It's your mindset. That's the third thinking tool. The fourth one, synthesize in your mind. Synthesize in your mind. As bad as Africa is, there are people making it in Africa. How are they doing it? If you sit down and see how you can synthesize something you can do to make life better for yourself And for this continent, trust me, you will find it. Africa is rich. Africa is creative. Oh, I love that song. Toto, bam, 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 bam. Lovely. It's a wonderful place. So synthesize in your mind, what is it that I can do for myself and for this continent of Africa? And the fifth one, make a determination. It's not just good enough for you to create something. Make a determination, no matter what it takes. I will stick it out, I will go through the process, and I will triumph. That is the African spirit. That is the African spirit. That is what is contained in the mind of an average African. I am proud to be one. Trust me. And lastly, the last thinking to your perspective will change. Your behavior will change. Your thought process will even get better. And your inputs to the world around you will be phenomenal. Changing your thought process will change your mindset. Changing your mindset will erase all those negative ones you have in the past. Your subconscious will become vibrant, and the enablement to go forward and further will spring forth. Well, I think I've spoken enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alagbe. It was very interesting kind of walking through that, right? It was the daunting, dooming kind of, oh, there's some really negative stuff that comes with a really bad mindset. But I love how you brought in the practical steps that we can take to really make some changes, right? I want to actually introduce Ms. Roseline Ilori into the conversation. She's the founder and CEO of Bridge 57 Solutions. She's got 2 decades of experience in the technology space. And she is also a business strategist and tech entrepreneur. And having said so, just a mentor to a lot of young people. Ms. Roseline, as a mentor, you kind of deal with mindset very often. We'd love to hear your thoughts on everything to just add to what Dr. Alagbe had just kind of taught us.
Thank you very much, Aimee. And the doctor has said it all. So I will just bring some my own perspective in some way. So I like to start with 2 stories. The first one is a story I read, and I actually saw a picture. So there was somebody that saw this big elephant, very big elephant, but there was a rope tied around its neck. And because of that rope, the elephant was just in that stationary position. And in its mind, so to say, it thought I could not move. And this young man was amazed, and he saw the person that was keeping the zoo. And he said, how did you do that? How can you tie a small rope around the neck of this elephant? And this big animal was able to stay in position. And he said something that
Oh, I think we've got some freezing there. Okay, let me introduce Floyd into the conversation, and as soon as Ms. Roseline comes back in, then we can have her carry on the conversation. Floyd Abdul, he is a Zimbabwean living in the diaspora. He's an entrepreneur, and he's been an entrepreneur in the UK and in the USA and the United States. He studied chartered accounting and is currently completing his MBA, so very, very achieved. He's also a founding member of Realize Africa, mentor to many, and just with a passion for health, business strategy, and personal development. Floyd, welcome to the conversation.
Aimee, thank you very much for having me. And Doctor, thank you very much. There were 4 things you mentioned that really gave me an aha moment. Number 1, you mentioned Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. Very familiar with it, lived in Atlanta, Georgia. You mentioned DeKalb County. I know DeKalb County. You know, Decatur, where it's always greater. You mentioned, the lions. You're a lion, my favorite animal. I've had the pleasure of playing with lions. I've had I just love everything about a lion, my absolute favorite animal. And more importantly, you mentioned suicide, something that my family is dealing with currently. Very young life, sadly taken. COVID-related stress, anxiety, and everything else. And my take on developing a winning mindset, not from a professional perspective like yours, doctor, but just from a personal development. You see, I was one that was always told, I'm going to amount to nothing. I'm a failure. Nothing good can come out from me. And it's not from my family, but it was from a circle of people that were basically around me. So, you know, the journey of life throws a lot of negatives around you. And what you do with those negatives and how you process them is very important. So the first thing I learned very early on was to find my purpose in life, to answer that question, why am I here on earth? And once I was able to find that why answer, I was able to realize that I have a mighty great and big purpose. The second thing I had to do is I had to declutter my mind. You see, there's always people that will tell you you're fat, you're ugly, you're no good, you're going to celebrate your birthday in prison, you're going to amount to nothing, you're going to die an alcoholic. So there's always people that are throwing negative things your ways. And I've learned in life that there's two groups of people you encounter. You encounter angels and you encounter demons. So the one thing I had to do was declutter my mind. And how I did that is I had to learn to forgive those that have hurt me in the past, those that have spoken negative towards me, those that told me I'd amount to nothing. I had to learn to forgive them, and not only to forgive them, but I had to detach myself from those kind of people. The third thing I had to do was surround myself with positive people, with people that were not going to tell me I'm fat or ugly, but people that will tell me I'm bold and beautiful, people that will tell me I'm going to accomplish and achieve. So I had to change my surrounding and the circle around me and surround myself by people that were energetic and positive, people that would create happy moments and memories that would last me a lifetime for positive, not for negative. And I'm reminded of a certain president, President Barack Obama. For many, many years, everybody says America would never have a black president. You know, the world, hell will freeze over before America experiences the leadership of a black president. And I think to myself, if President Obama had to listen to that negativeness, he wouldn't have been president. So it's very important as to who you surround yourself with. The fourth thing I learned was to be a giver. You know, we've all been given, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, an atheist, whomever you support or worship, whomever, we all have a gift to give. And it's always better to be a giver than a receiver. So the fourth thing I learned to do was to be a giver. Give of my time, give of my talent, and give of my treasure. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, I don't have any treasure to give. You know, just your genuineness towards somebody is giving. You know, as we're approaching Christmas, I'm reminded of a gentleman. And I was talking to this young gentleman and I asked him, I said to him, tell me, what's the one thing that you would really and truly love? If somebody was to say to you, what do you want for Christmas? What's that one thing that you would say, ooh, if only I could have? And the guy, without hesitation, said to me, a laptop. I was like, a laptop? He says, yeah, all I would love is a laptop. I'm thinking to myself, I treasure a laptop of mine, but guess what? It's stored under my bed because I typically pull it out from under my bed when I'm watching TV lying in bed. And this guy's one thing he wants is a laptop. I said to him, give me your address. So that treasure, which was my laptop, I was able to give it to somebody else. And I was able to also help somebody change their mindset, because now something that he's always wanted in life, that to him was one of those when he was able to receive. And for me, it was treasure. But what good is treasure when it's gathering dust? It's really not treasure. You know, another thing I learned to do was to set goals. And when I talk about setting goals, I'm talking about having a vision board, being able to overcome the naysayers and think of personally what's important for me, my purpose in life, and what do I want to accomplish and achieve. You know, So setting goals and having a vision board was something, but it's not just about setting goals and having a vision board. What good is it to say, I want to be a doctor? Okay, what steps are you taking towards being a doctor? I just want to be a doctor. Well, why do you want to be a doctor? So the sixth thing I had to do was come up with an action plan. Have goals, but set up a plan on how to achieve and attain those goals. You see, it's no good for Ronaldo or Messi to say, I want to be the greatest football player and not put in the work and put in the effort. So I had to come up with an action plan, and not just an action plan, a massive action plan. And to get to that, to get to the goals with an action plan, it always takes measuring and seeing how far, how close, how missed, because you can always adjust it. Another thing was being absolutely determined, having that attitude of never giving up, an unshaken, solid core belief that it's up to me. It's not up to government. It's not up to my community. It's not up to my surroundings. It's up to me. And I will do everything righteous, legal, and ethical towards attaining it. And I will work hard at it. And if I can't work hard at it, you're damn sure I'm going to work hardest at it. So having an action plan and being determined. Another thing is conquering fear. We all have some element of fear. A few months ago, my kids, well, not a few months ago, actually, the beginning of the year, we were talking about goals and stuff with the kids. And my kids asked me, what's the one thing you fear? You've swam with sharks, you've played with lions, you've bungee jumped, skydived, you do so much crazy things. What's the one thing you fear? And I say to them, I fear a chicken. I absolutely am petrified of a chicken. Give me a live chicken, I'm running. Now, obviously an injection as well. I mean, you have to catch me before you give me an injection. But you got to work on conquering your fear. So this year, I am so determined. I'm bigger than any chicken. I'm not going to be afraid of a chicken. I was attacked by a rooster when I was young and petrified, but it's a mindset. I can catch a snake. I can hold a python. Give me a spitting cobra. No problem. I'll handle it. But give me a chicken. And that's a mindset that I've realized I've got to change. And in order to develop a winning mindset, I can implement things that I've put in the past to overcome that fear. So I told my kids, you are going to witness me holding a chicken because it's a mindset I have to conquer. So another thing is you've got to conquer fear. Something as well for me is just quiet time. Finding that time to just meditate and reflect and to sow positive thoughts into my mind. And I usually do this with affirmations. No matter the stress thrown at me, no matter the spears thrown my way, I will always find time to just close my eyes and spend quiet time, because everybody else is going to tell you, you can't do it. It's not possible. You like this, you like that. The mind's it's a powerful muscle. It's very powerful. So the only thing I can do is put my kind of power, blocking out the negatives and just putting in my affirmations. And the other thing, man, is just enjoy life. Just live life and enjoy it to the max. So the things I do again is find your purpose in life. If I'm to encourage anybody, find your purpose in life. Come up with the answer to that why question. Declutter your mind. Detach yourself from all those that have caused you harm and said negative things. Surround yourself with positive influences, energetic ones too. Become a giver. Set goals. Come up with a tentative action plan. Be determined. Conquer all matter of fear. Find a quiet time and just enjoy life. Life is a journey and it's to be embraced and to be enjoyed. Thank you.
That was amazing, Floyd. Thank you so much. I've written down all these 10 points. I'm loving them, definitely. Roseline, if you're ready, we are so keen to hear a little bit more of your elephant story. And yeah, hear from you.
Thank you so much, Aimee. My network connection was going to change my mindset, but I believe that we have the best of internet connection in Africa. Okay, so just to continue from where I stopped. So this big elephant had this rope on his neck, and he wasn't moving. And the young man asked the keeper and said, "How were you able to do it?" And then the man said, when the elephant was very young, they used the same rope to tie it to one corner. So, and because he couldn't move at that young age, he believed that, oh, forever, no matter how big it becomes, it was the same rope was still able to keep him in one place. So what does that tell us as it relates to what we are talking about? There are things that, we have overgrown. There are things that, yes, they affected us. Like my darling friend Floyd is afraid of chicken. There are things that happen in the past, but we are still held bound by those things. I'm sure the doctor has some explanations in that regard. So, but as a people, we have to continue to look at these different, what are these things that are just like rope? If I'm an elephant, what are those things that are confronting us? What are those negative mindset that we have that are just like that rope that we can easily overcome, but because we are bound by our mindset? That's the first one. And then I'm going to share a story about my 8-year-old son. So he does some things, and it's all about, just to buttress the point on the mindset. The other day we were driving, so I was in the car with his brother, and then we saw a Rolls Royce, and I was like, oh, okay, that's so nice, that's beautiful. And I said, oh, do you guys know that some people actually do that for business? That some people rent it for their weddings, for some event that they say, oh, that's nice. And then what did my younger son say? He said, Mom, you know what? We're not going to rent it, we're going to own it. At some point, I was like, what did you just say? He said, no, we are not going to rent it, we are going to own it. I paused for a while. And he did some other things. In fact, last weekend, he said he was doing some garage sales. I was in the house. I didn't know what was happening in front of my gate. He had set up tables. He was selling stuff until one woman came to buy. He needed some money. And I was like, what is going on here? And he said, you told me I can be anything I want to be. That is why I'm doing this. Momentarily, I paused. I was like, okay, this is what I've sown into this guy. So he's 8-year-old and he believes he can do anything. So that's to buttress the point on what the doctor was saying about what words are we hearing? As parents, what are we speaking to our children? As young people, what are we saying to our friends? What are we hearing? Who are the people we have surrounded ourselves with? I've heard so many negative things in my life. You can't do this, you can't do that. But thank God for a lot of those things I've overcome. So what are some of those things? The doctor has said some of them. Floyd has shared some of them. So I'll just quickly point one or two. So the first one is positive affirmation. You can't take that out of me. I believe so much in myself, even things that seem so far away. Sometimes people say, my friends say, you're just a dreamer. And I say, oh, you can call me that, but I believe this is not impossible. I can achieve it. People that have it, they don't have two heads. I can dream it, and there's this quote I love so much. If I can dream it, I can achieve it, no matter what it is. So that's the first one. What am I telling myself? What do I tell myself from time to time? What am I seeing? What am I visualizing? Sometimes I just dream it. I just close my eyes and I'm seeing myself where I want to be. And I really don't even have the means to get there. But I just enjoy the dream when I close my eyes and I'm seeing myself in the kind of house I want to be in the next 1 year, the kind of people I want to help, what I want to do. It's just all, and I see. So sometimes when I want just to feel good with myself, I just replay those things in my mind and I just smile to myself. So this helps, and it helps to calm me down and know, hey, whatever is happening today, this is my destination. This is where I'm going to. And you know what? Over the time, I just see that those things are happening. The other thing I do to add to the other list is gratitude. What am I grateful for? So I wake up, things are not happening, the country is bad, electricity is bad, the government is not doing anything. But some of the time I step back and I say, what are the things I'm grateful for? And sometimes for me, they are very, what you call odd things. Sometimes I wake and say, God, I thank you for my kidney. My liver is working. My heart is beating. Oh, my eyes can see.
Okay, I think we've got a little bit of freezing on Rosaline's side again. I do have a question that's come through from one of our participants. Doc, I think this would be directed at you. Can we use the term mindset and attitude interchangeably? Yeah.
Yes, we can. However, in a circular setting, in the technical setting, mindset entails much more. But attitude is a reflection of what is in your mind. And what's an attitude? It's a behavior and action. A behavior and action, which is an offshoot of what you have in your mindset. Now, some people will go a little bit deeper. When we talk about the mind, the human mind, you're talking about two layers, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Really, there are a lot of things that we do that is out of the realm of our consciousness. We can't call those attitude in the real sense of it. We limit attitude to the things we do consciously that results in action that is now seen by other people. Nobody can see your mindset, but attitude can be seen. Your behavior and action that follows it is the attitude. But in the secular world, yes, you can say, look, your mindset is your attitude is a reflection of your mindset, and we'll be fine.
Okay, well, Kiran, I hope that answers your question. Ms. Rosalind, you can carry on. I love your concept of gratitude. It plays a major, major role in my life personally. So yeah, right back at you.
Okay, so I'll just quickly round up. So yeah, we have to be grateful. We have to look at those things we call little things that we should be grateful for. Possibly we can have a gratitude list. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you want to do, yes, things around are not working, but have a list of what I call the gratitude list, things you are grateful for. And lastly, to add to what everyone had said, is these young people have to take responsibility for their lives. I've heard so many young people say, oh, it's because my parent did not do this. It's because my father refused to do. Oh, it's because the government is doing this or doing that. It's because this is not working. There is always a reason why something is not working. But you know what I tell young people is, you have a responsibility for your life. You have to take it heads on. And you know what? We only live once. You have to say, yes, no, whatever has happened is in the past. I'm going to take responsibility. The doctor has spoken about people having the mindset that when they go to America, that is it. I know a couple of people that have actually done that, and then they get it like, is this all? Is this all I've labored all my life to get? So sometimes people need to step back and say that, hey, this is my life. I'm going to do everything, all that it takes, positively, ethically, morally, to make sure that I make the best out of it. So taking responsibility, being grateful for what you have, and having those positive affirmations with visualization. And I believe that we can do it. Thank you so much.
That's absolutely amazing. You know, as Realize Africa, one of the things that we've been talking about is a 1,000-year vision on really making Africa better by Africans, right? And you know, having this conversation of having a winning mindset, not only for ourselves personally, but how do we bring the community of young Africans, you know, that we've kind of forming and growing and saying, hey, we want to make Africa better. How does this winning mindset translate into that 1,000-year vision? What is that going to look like? And I think Doc, you spoke a little bit about the intellectual component and the emotional component, and what would an African-centered intellect look like, or African-centered values or mindset look like so that we can actually make Africa better?
You know, I like your question because you're going to provoke me to deep insight to some things that are in depth. My view of my Africa. Jokingly, I mean, my wife is sitting near me here. She knows I love watching the Magic TV and all those shows, but the ones that I really love are the epic shows, those that show the rural African setting, the villages and stuff. If you look very closely, you will see the beauty of Africa in those cultural beliefs, cultural attitude, cultural, way of life. If you look very closely, those ways of life actually reflect humility. They reflect determination, things Floyd and Roseline talked about. It reflects, gratitude. It reflects, a humble mindset. So when you talk about the riches of Africa, the riches of the mindset, I'm talking about the mindset, a good mindset that actually embraces the cultural belief, the virtues of our continent. I'm telling you, those are, well, they may not be comparable to the technology, but those are indigenous technology. I'm not talking about some remote occulting things, but I'm talking about those basic core values, morals, respect for our nature, respect for others, love for one another, the willingness to share, even when you have little. Those are our strengths. If our present generation can tap into those, trust me, coupled with the knowledge of technology, we can make Africa the greatest continent on earth.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alagbe. A question for you, Roseline, as from our participants on Zoom here was, how do we, so this is from one of our youths, how do we gain experience since all the employers require experience and we're fresh graduates? And I guess second question is, advisable for us to apply international internships sponsored by EU, UN, and other companies in Europe? So we've got like two questions, but I think you can kind of couple them and give us an answer there.
Thank you, Aimee. I'm not sure I understand the second question very well, but the first question is talking about when organizations are asking for experience and then you just have 0 years of experience. How do we handle that? So the first thing I tell people is, when you are in school, when you are in the university, volunteer, do things. So there are so many, there's something that we do with young entrepreneurs. And what we try to encourage them to do is, while you are in school, don't wait until you have an employment letter before you do something. There are so many things you can do. There are so many skills they can pick up. I have a lot of graphic artists, young software developers that are doing so many things, and they are still in school. So when you go for interview, nobody is going to say you are not experienced. You have volunteered, you had some leadership skills, there are some soft skills you have gained, and that can help. For me, I started writing professional exams while I was in the university. The first interview I had as a fresh graduate, I was told I was overqualified. I never heard that. And I was like, I just need a job. Don't worry about the overqualification. Just give me this job. And they said, no, we cannot give you this. And what do I have? Because I had already written some professional exams, and they saw that, oh, you are adding more value. And eventually the same organization called me about 2 months later. I said, now we have a space for a position that suits what the qualification that you have. I was a fresh graduate. So it's adding more values to yourself, not just sitting back and holding a paper certificate, but adding more value to yourself. So could you please clarify the second question? I'm not sure I get that very well.
Yeah, sure. I think so. Basically, I think it was just a question to say, is it advisable to apply for the international scholarships and sponsorships from Europe and the UN and USA? I think when you go on the internet, there's a whole host of scholarships that are coming from there. So I think our, participants really asking, is it advisable for us to take those opportunities?
Why not? If you see the opportunity, please go for it. Please go for it. It is highly advisable if you have the opportunity to have experience. The doctor was in the US for so many years, and that's why he could come back with the experience, and he can begin to tell us about some of the things that he has learned. Floyd is in the UK. He's gathered experience from all over. Some of us we have decided to just stay here, like Aimee and myself, and so we need the diversity. So if you see the opportunity, please grab it.
Aimee, I'd like to also answer that question from another perspective, where I've also had that situation where university wasn't for me. Too motivated, too wanting to go, not interested in university, just want to get out and work, and been told I don't have experience. And years later, also applying for jobs and being told I was overqualified. So my advice is simply this. When I was told I had no experience, I said to them, I'm willing to work for free. You don't need to pay me. I'll volunteer, train me, teach me, I'll work for you. Some of the companies, the bigger companies, were not interested, but there were people that were interested and took me on board, took me under their wing, and trained me. So my advice, as Roseline said, volunteer. Number two, what do you have to lose? I'm more than happy to work for you for free. Oh, but we can't do that, it's exploitation. Not a problem. How about I only do 30 hours a week so you're not exploiting me? Get those skills. Get that experience. Get that thing on your resume. On the other side, where you apply for a job and they tell you you're overqualified, it's very frustrating, but all you can do is don't stop. When opportunity knocks on your door, you have to embrace it. Whether that opportunity is in China, whether that opportunity is in Japan, whether it's in Egypt, whether it's in the EU or the US, there's great experience in exploring the universe, because at the end of the day, you're always going to have something from it to give back. I think of a guy I met in Atlanta, Georgia, by the name of Dikembe Mutombo, basketball player from the Congo. Wonderful, wonderful human being. From the village, he wanted to be a doctor. All he wanted to do was be a doctor and help his community. He was given the opportunity for a scholarship to go to America, and he took it. He gets to America, he's just thinking of being a doctor. I want to medically help my community. And in university, with this opportunity given to him, somebody approaches him and asks him, do you play basketball? He's never bounced a ball in his life. No, I don't. Wow, I think he'd be a great basketball player. Come and give it a try. He is a Hall of Famer. He represented Atlanta Hawks, Houston Rockets, great basketball player. And guess what? He never became a doctor, but he built a phenomenal hospital in his country, and he's helped transform and reshape his community. That impact will be lasting for generations. So when opportunity knocks on your door, embrace it. As long as it's ethical, it's righteous, and it's ethical.
Good, good. Doc, do you have anything to add to this? I feel like it would be interesting to hear from you on this one.
Well, the thing that I find fascinating about this, that we never met or talked before, but we all spoke in one voice. We said the same thing in different ways. Your mindset ready to go through a process. This process might not be an immediate, might not give immediate result, but again, your determination, persistence will see you through. Oh, by the way, I was at the Dikembe Mutombo's one of the Christmas parties in Atlanta. Floyd, a great guy. Yeah, his lifestyle, his life story is something worthy of emulation, humble in all his ways, and he reached the peak. And when he got there, he never forgot his root. I will always respect him for that. That's all I can add. We've said it all.
Waiting for that, I think we had a question, and this is coming from our Facebook Live, which is really cool, is a question on how do you come out of depression? And I think we've spoken a little bit about this when it comes to COVID. COVID's definitely thrown a massive spanner into the works, and I think we've lost a few friends along the way. So we'll probably start with you, Doc, and then kind of streamline through our other speakers. And I know that this is quite a heavy question and not an easy one, but yeah, we're here to hear your thoughts.
Who they're talking about how to get out of depression, but I will advise whoever posed this question to contact you, and I can send some write-ups on depression. But briefly, number one, depression is different from sadness. Depression is a brain disease. Yes, depression someone can go into depression because of some adverse events in their life, but really because the brain is genetically predisposed to the disease. It is a brain disease. How do you get out of it? There are two treatment modalities. One we call psychotherapy or cognitive behavioral therapy. We call it talk therapy. You have to talk to a professional who can help to change your mindset. Just a more in-depth one than the one I just presented, so that you can function. And another way is the use of medication. If you think you're depressed, seek a professional. How do you know you're depressed? 1, you're sad. 2, you lose interest in the things you normally enjoy. 3, your sleep is jacked up. You sleep by midnight. You are awake, can't sleep again. 3rd, your appetite is jacked up. You feel tired all the time. You feel helpless and hopeless. Number 3, and about, is that the 4th or the 5th? You start questioning why you are alive. These are the symptoms, signs and symptoms of depression. If you endorse anyone, just say any one of the ones I've mentioned, seek help. Seek to see a professional, and everything is going to be okay. And if you want more information, I can always forward it through this platform. Contact the organizers and read it. Thank you.
That's perfect.
Aimee, to jump off the back of that, I'm not a professional. What the doctor said is absolutely 100%. But the one thing a lot of us make a mistake with, and I'm guilty of having done that in the past, is that Coke bottle analogy. You keep something holding in, and all that's doing is it keeps, and then it gets to a point when it explodes. So what you want to do is you want to avoid that eruption by finding people that are going to be true, honest, and genuine with you, and you want to talk. It's what helps me a lot, talking to people. Another thing is exercising, just getting outside and enjoying nature, exercising. But as the doctor says, if somebody's dealing with depression, please reach out. Because yes, there is the medication aspect, the professional will correctly diagnose you. But for people that are just kind of like borderline, am I depressed, am I anxious, find somebody to talk to, find somebody to laugh with, and get out and exercise. Get out and enjoy nature.
Perfect. Thank you. We've got Ahmed on he's actually available, so we're going to unmute Ahmed. If you want to come on and ask our panelists your question, that would be amazing.
Yes, madam. I wanted to ask the doctor and the other panelists that is it advisable to study 2 to 3 courses in order to be professional in many fields?
I believe his question was, is it advisable to study multiple courses to be professional? Is that correct, Aimee?
Yeah.
So it was along those lines, in a sense of, is it advisable to do kind of 2 courses, or to kind of focus on one, and so yeah, Doc.
Well, want to answer that question? Well, I believe in focus. Focus on a course. Be the master of it. However, that should not stop you from learning basic things in other areas of living. Other areas of living. I do many things apart from being a doctor. If I sweep my phone, you see some of my paintings in this place. Oh, I can't show you. And you see my piano. I just purchased this. Now, what am I trying to say? The fact that the fact that you are in a course should not shut your mind from learning some other things. The mind has a vast reservoir for acquisition of knowledge. And the more you learn, the better you get. One of the things you're going to find out, especially in this generation, is this. No matter what you read, you will find connectedness with other courses around. You don't necessarily have to do 10 courses at once because you want to be professional. That does not make you professional. What makes you professional is doing that one thing, being good at it, and being human with it. That's my answer, man.
You know, Ahmed, from a business perspective, you know, I have many friends that have multiple degrees that are still paying for the degrees and never use them a day in their life. So my suggestion is become a master of one. Own it, dominate it. Do the one thing that you're passionate about, the one thing that you love. And how will you know it's the one thing you love? Number one, you'll do it gladly for free. Number two, a paycheck is a bonus. Dominate it and own that space. And as the doctor says, the mind is a wonderful thing. Humans can take on a lot. So constantly improve, constantly learn. I'm finishing off my MBA. But when I'm finished, every year, I'm allocating a certain amount of finances to further education and empower myself, and in topics that I'm interested in. Leadership and management, go and hear seminars, go and hear people talk, go for a one-day course here, a two-day course there. But from a perspective of wanting to get professional, wanting to get employable, focus on the one thing you love, own its space, dominate it, and then from there onwards add. And once you can start earning from the first course that you're doing, and you know you're truly enjoying it and loving it, then the rewards from that, you can further empower and enable yourself. I hope that answers your question from a business perspective.
It's good. It's good. Thank you so much. Ms. Roseline, we've got another question here, and would see if you'd like to answer it. So Freyol, and I hope I'm saying your name right, just said, thank you so much for this conversation. My question is how to know true scholarships and interns university. So I guess, how do you really know when something is, actually a scholarship or an internship, whether it's locally or overseas?
So what I can advise you to do is you need to do a lot of searching. There are some websites you can subscribe to where you can get this information from time to time. I can't remember that clearly, but if you drop your details, I can share some of those with you. But it's a lot of work that you have to do on your own. And there are some organizations and people that actually help with that. So you may also want to look around. I'm not sure where you are connecting from, but there are people, there are organizations that is what they do. They can also help you to guide you. But there's so much information on the internet that you can leverage and you can get information from.
And if I can add to that, if they ask you for a payment, run away. Because sadly, there's too many cons out there and they prey on desperate people. Kind of like that prophet that will tell you, bring your paycheck and this, that, run away. Once they ask for your money, run away. Research, 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 and don't pay, because such are free.
What's happening here is we're kind of bouncing between two, right? We've got this, kind of mindset, the right direction in terms of education. Thank you for bouncing around this. So we're going to go a little bit back to mindset again. And so Kidane says, I think in the doctor's view, we have to reach out to those individuals with a negative mindset and try our best to shift their mindset. And then he says, contrary to this, we've got Floyd, who suggested that we surround ourselves with positive mindset, or, you know, people with a positive mindset. How do you strike a balance between the two?
Okay, we are saying the same thing. I gave a formula. Number one, challenge your negative mindset with your thinking tools. That is to deal with negative things that are inside you. But how do you enhance a positive mindset, which is what Mr. Floyd just answered. I mentioned in his presentation, surround yourself with people of positive mindset. So we are saying the same things, just the same spectrum. Mr. Floyd helped to just expand what I was saying. Changing your mindset, number one, with the key you have inside your thought process, challenging all negative thoughts that leads to negative attitude. Now, how do you enhance that mindset? Surround yourself with positive people and positive
we have a little bit of a lag.
It's extended it further for me. You can change the negative mindset and enhance your mindset by surrounding yourself with positive people.
Yeah, you know, Aimee, I believe that the question also raised the part of something to change negative people's mindsets. You will never change a naysayer's mindset. You've got a better, I mean, let me bring it into the political realm. You go to a Republican and tell them to vote for a Democrat, or vice versa. As far as they're concerned, they red to the core or they blue to the core. So you can engage in a conversation, but never try to change a negative person's mindset. That's the reason why I have learned to detach myself. So I've got a very good friend of mine from Lebanon. Love him to death. He's one of the most negative people. And I've learned that if ever I have an idea and I want somebody to play devil's advocate, I know who to go to. Because he is so negative that nothing will work. Nothing good will come from it. And I get to play devil's advocate with him. I'm not going to waste my energy trying to change his mindset. I'm not. You know, it reminds me of my cousin growing up. You would wake him up and say, hey, it's time for school, get ready for school. He's still lying in bed, he's about 8 years old, and he'll say, I'm not going to school. And you say, why? He says, because it's raining. And you say to him, it's raining. He says, yes, it's raining. You open the curtains and you say to him, look, it's not raining. He'll look and he'll say, well, I'm not going because the sun is shining. Now, some people have that mindset. They will absolutely not move. They will not budge. And all I'm saying is, I detach myself from the negative.
Okay, I think that's some really good information there, right? So I think just trying to take on and maybe help someone walk through the process, but then also recognize that, you know, your positive mindset, I think, needs to be protected and valued, right? And I think that's probably the foremost thing. The time, you know, just in this, Roseline, do you have anything to add to this in terms of how do you strike the balance between trying to help people around you with a, you know, whether changing their mindset or helping them see it differently, but then also making sure that you protect your positive space and your positive mindset?
I think the first step one has to take is to more like look at the people around you and know where they belong. Floyd, in his example, was able to know, hey, this person is always negative, and he knows what kind of information he wants to take from that person. He knows what to expect, and it is clear. So the first thing we need to do is to, you know, do an assessment of those around us and know who are those that are kind of like positive, who are those that have those negative mindset, so that we know how to. There are some people that they have negative mindset, they are families, they are brothers, they are sisters. You cannot totally cut off from them. But what this is telling us, you identify these people. So you are careful what you take to them, what kind of advice you ask from them, because you've been able to know that this is what this person is all about. These are the things I can and I cannot take to this kind of people. So the first thing is that, you know, understanding the people around us. That's very important.
That's good. It's good. Time has flown by so quickly, and it always does. I've learned so much, and I'm sure that everyone that's joined us has done this. I want to give you guys just a few minutes, or 2 minutes each, really just to give like the last closing words, a bit of encouragement as we carry on. Even in the midst of everything that's happening, I think we've learned a lot about watching our mindset, changing our mindset, having really awesome value systems in our lives. You know, we'll start with Floyd. I think we'll end with Doc in the end, but let's start with Floyd if you want to give us 2 minutes, closing remarks.
I thank everybody for the attentive advice. I thank Doc for being here with us, for Roseline for being with us. We're on different continents, in different countries, but we basically speak in the same thing. One from a certified professional aspect, from an experienced life, business aspect, and everything else. In closing, all I want to say is this is 2020. You've got a choice to say it's been an incredible year. And that incredible could be good or bad. You know, there's so much doom and gloom, but you got to decide. For me, this is the best year ever. For I will look back one day on this year and say, if it wasn't for 2020, it's all about the mindset. Sharpen your mindset. Have a belief that things will work for the good, that things are working for the good. It's up to you. The power is unlimited. It's endless. It's all between your 2 ears, and it's up to you. You know, no basketball player goes to shoot a basket saying, I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss. No athlete straps up their boots and say, I'm going to come last, I'm going to come last, I'm going to come last. No fighter enters the ring and says, I'm going to get knocked out. No, you're going to throw those punches as best you can, as hard as you can. You're going to run that race as fast as you can, and you're going to leave it all there. Do that with your mindset. Remain positive. Be as positive as you can be. If you have to jump up and dance to change your mindset, do it. Get the energy flowing, get the creativeness flowing, and surround yourself with positive people. 2020 is an incredible year. One day, I know one of you listening, one of you tuning in will say, wow, I learned A, B, and C from this, and because of this, I was able to accomplish and achieve this. Yeah. And it's all going to be good.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate your time and your wisdom. Ms. Roseline, please come through with your last remarks.
Well, thank you so much again. I've enjoyed myself. I've learned so much. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Floyd. And thank you, Aimee. What I would say is, and there's this analogy, you know, I told you I dream a lot. So what I encourage people to do is close your eyes for a moment. Imagine now is your 80th birthday and people are coming, children, young people, older people. What stories are they telling? How have you impacted their lives? What have you done with your life? What kind of story do you want to hear people say? What are those things you want to be told about you on your 80th birthday? Start doing them now. That is what those things you are created for. That is why you are here. You know what? There's a lot of problems in Africa, so many. But you know what? There's a reason why God decided to put us, all of us, every one of us in Africa, because there is a solution that we are carrying. There's a solution we are meant to provide. We can't run away from it. We have to do it, and we can do it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you and all your wisdom. Thank you. Doc, if you want to come through.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the organizers for inviting me for this wonderful program. It gets me more. I've not that the people who still have hope for Africa and they are not sleeping. I want to applaud you. I want to applaud whatever led to this mindset that you're organizing this program. Now, also, I want to encourage everyone listening or to tell someone that they know that yes, 2020 has been one phenomenal year. It may seem negative, but at the end, like Mr. Floyd just said, it is not over until it's over. The power to go through this lies within you. It is your mindset. Why are you alive up to today? Why are you not killed yet? Because there is somebody. I call him God. Some people call him Creator. The one who designs all things. Two speakers said something. Take time to meditate. In other words, they are telling you to put your mind, your problem, your fears before him. And you go with a determination that you are not alone in all this. Even if the storms are raging, the ability to wade through the storms lies within you. And more so, you're not alone. Trust me, you're not alone. So fear not. So fear not. And again, you can tell somebody that you see in that wavering, sinking state. Let them know, I am there for you. I'll give you my hand. You are not alone. Get out. We will make it through together, for God is with us. Amen.
Man, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Alagbe, Floyd, Roseline. We just want to thank you so much from Realize Africa. For all of you that have joined us, we just want to thank you so much for your engagement, your questions, and really we want to encourage you, if you haven't followed us on our social media, we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and then just keep following us. We've got so much more that we're bringing out. Our mentorship sessions are one-to-one or one-to-many. Skills training programs that we are running and we look forward to running, and then also just kind of remembering that we're coming together as Africans to make Africa better. And so we're so grateful for you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and that's a wrap from us. Bye everyone.